Hi, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Victoria Turner, and this is Powerful People of San Diego. We have as a guest today the extraordinarily talented woman, Rhonda Cole. She's here to talk to us about an ancient art called quilling that goes back to at least the early 1400s.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome to the show, Rhonda.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Are these the examples of everything that you've done? Or are those all these examples of your work?
They're all examples of my work, yes, ma'am.
And you've done a lot more.
I have been doing this for 19 years, so yeah, I've got a lot more.
A lot more work.
Yeah.
Now, we started on this extraordinary piece, which is a mandala.
Yes.
And how long did it take you to make that mandala?
It took over 145 hours to design it.
Wow.
And it only took about 60 hours to make it.
60 hours? Wow, what a patient woman you are. And there's multiple designs in there?
There's 13 different designs, and there's 32 different colors of paper.
And how much paper is there?
Over 11,000 inches.
11,000 inches. That's an
Yes,
extraordinary piece of work. And it only got honorable mention.
Yes.
Somebody was on drugs that day, I'm telling you. It's an incredible piece.
But you could see what, if that only took honorable mention, what someone else must have done to get better.
So another word for quilling is paper filigree. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And the first known use of it was in the 1400s. Between then and 1700s, French and Italian churches used filigree or paper quilling to decorate religious motifs. Soon, upper-class women, that would be us, enjoyed it as a hobby, and over the years, it wasn't as popular, and now it's coming back as an art and craft form that's endured for millennia.
Millennia.
Literally millennia. Can you talk to us about some of these beautiful pieces? Which is your favorite? I know it's hard to, like your children, you don't have a favorite child, but...
Oh, well. My Santa was one of my first pride and joys. I actually managed to put that one together in a week.
Wow.
Working night after work.
After work?
After work.
How long did it take to design that?
Thankfully, I've already made several similar. So the one thing that took me the longest was his bag.
This is really the culmination of your Santa work.
Yes. Yeah. I do a lot of Santas. They sell really well. People love them.
I love them. It's just gorgeous. It's adorable.
And I'm just absolutely thrilled that it took first place in the miniature division.
Let's talk about this. People don't understand that quilling is an international art. There's people all over the world doing this.
Yes, ma'am.
And you belong to the you have to spell it for me?
NAQG.
Which stands for North American
Quilling Guild.
And there's contests.
We have an annual meeting, and at the annual meeting, we show some of our work.
Is that May?
That's coming up this May.
And where is that?
It'll be in Springfield, Illinois this year.
So people come from all over the world to Springfield, Illinois for your annual quilling meeting?
Yes.
Wow, hundreds of people, I bet. Thousands.
No, we wish.
We wish, but soon.
Yeah, usually somewhere between 50 and 100.
So it's a good size, it's a good group.
It's a good size group.
Yeah.
For such a limited art form that is just not that well known.
No, well, we'll be after today.
Good.
So let's talk about your quilling chart here and the examples of the types of quilling that you do.
These are the basic
the forms.
Pieces. Once you learn, your basic circles and your basic swirl, everything is based off of that.
Will you show us at the end of the show? Will you give us a demonstration on this?
Absolutely.
Because it's so minute and just takes hours.
I do a lot of miniature work. Not sure how I got started in miniatures, but everybody loves my miniatures.
I see. And then you even have your beautiful jewelry.
I do.
Oh, that's gorgeous. And your earrings?
And my earrings. And they're reversible.
And reversible as well. And look how beautifully they all match. And your bracelet.
Yes, my bracelet is also, the blue is made out of paper. The beads are regular beads.
So this is
I didn't make this one.
But it's quilling nevertheless.
It is. And these are some other bracelets that, again, I didn't make.
But they're quilled.
They're quilled
bracelets. And you brought a lot of samples of those earrings. There's such a variety of them.
I don't make the same thing twice. And even if I do, if you look at the earrings, there's 2 hummingbirds there. And the hummingbirds, even though it's the same design,
Oh, yes.
I can't make them the same.
Yeah, well, no true artist makes the same thing twice.
And so I'm always making them different. So
Even the funny things, it's the
minions.
Oh, that's a
my
Brian.
little minions.
The quilling minions.
I did those last minute, took them to the conference because I just like to put things in just to keep other people,
Interested.
and they
amused.
have something to compete against.
Ah, that's smart.
They took 3rd place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good, big surprise. I bet you were the
It
first
was.
minions in town.
It really did surprise me.
So this is the annual meeting where they have the competitions and placements. So what does it take? Well, it was the 1990s when the Guild was thinking about being formed. It was formed in 2000.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then what is the purpose of the Guild and how does it do the competitions and how do you go up the levels?
The purpose is to promote quilling, to teach people how to do it, and to make exposure.
Sure.
Because when we have these conferences, it is open to the public to come in and look and see what we've done.
And there's judging and competitions.
We do. We have an annual competition. There's 4 levels: beginner, intermediate, accomplished, and champion.
Ooh.
And champion, you have to win a 1st place in a division in order to move up.
What's above champion?
Nothing yet.
That's like the black belt of the quilling world. Yes.
Yes, it is. And there's different categories. So I said I wanted miniatures on that one. This one I took first, Quilling and Beyond.
What category is this one?
This one here, Quilling and Beyond.
Quilling and Beyond. Okay.
This one is a card. Actually, it's just the card. I put it in the shadow box when I got home.
So you could see and
Yeah.
protect it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just beautiful work. And what category would the pumpkin be in?
He was freestanding, and I'll show you what I competed against. You'll see why I didn't.
Holy cow! Wow, that's impressive.
This was my competition. Poor little guy didn't stand a chance.
Oh no!
This is a full-size guitar.
Tens of thousands of
Yes,
bits of paper.
yes, and it's 100% paper.
Amazing, extraordinary. What an artwork!
Oh, it gets me today. So, one of those that you go, wow.
Okay. At your conferences, people who want to apply, who can do quilling at home, can apply to be in the competitions. Your conference is in May, so they should apply by what, April? First
of April.
Approximately.
Yeah.
And then they can apply in various categories.
You can apply in any of the categories. There are.
Do I have to fly there to submit? Yeah.
No, you don't actually.
I can just submit, mail it in.
You have to be a member if you're going to mail in.
Okay.
And you can just mail in your piece, and they'll put it out and judge it and send it back to you. And
Amazing. Oh, I meant to ask about these pieces.
this one was raffled off. It was made by the lady who basically taught me quilling.
Oh.
I learned from a book.
Oh, and you have a book here.
I do. I learned.
This is a great story about how you learned to do quilling.
I did. I learned from this book, and as I was flipping through it, I realized I've made almost everything in here.
Oh, fantastic.
So when this came up for raffle at one of our conventions,
You had to have it.
I had to have it. So I got it. It's by Melinda Johnston,
And who wrote the book?
who is very famous, written a lot of books. Yeah.
So at first, when you were a young wee hopper, your mom gave you a book on quilling.
She did.
Or was it a whole kit?
It was actually a whole kit.
Uh-huh.
She was always having us do some craft or another.
Yeah.
And quilling came up as the craft. I was about 15. I was a perfectionist, thanks to my mother.
Yes.
And with the papers back then, you just couldn't roll a pretty coil, a perfect coil.
A perfect coil. Yes.
So it went in the box and went on the shelf, and I carried it around for 25 years.
Wow.
And
By which time the paper industry caught up to you.
oh, big time.
So the paper today is vastly different than what you had growing up.
Oh yeah. There's
How is it different?
well, style, color.
You brought examples.
Yeah. This is an example of the old paper. It's stiff, it doesn't roll well, and this is the newer. There's paper from all over the world. There's Dutch, English, Australian,
etc., etc., etc. Everybody who's making good paper.
Yeah. And they're all different. I mean, there's a variegated, there's a two-tone. These are gilded. The Dutch do awesome gilding. So they've come a long way.
So now that the ability to use really excellent paper brought you to starting quilling again.
It did. It after I used up all of the old paper
in the kit, okay.
In the kit, which wasn't that much, I happened upon the North American Quilling Guild.
Which all you people should be paying attention to. North American Quilling Guild. Anyway.
I was 1 year into quilling when I attended my first conference. And I've been going since.
You were inspired. Now, what you like to do.
So inspired.
Now, your niche, as it were, is flowers. You love doing flowers.
Let's
talk about your flowers.
I do. I do all kinds of flowers. This is some of the just different flowers.
That's gorgeous. This one actually looks like an aster.
When we go out walking around, my husband will take pictures for me. I come home and it's like, okay, well, this one needs 3 of these and 4 of those. And I make up the flowers, and I make a lot of vases. And the vases are very, very popular. People love them.
I love them. It's exquisite. And you don't have to water them.
Exactly.
There's a big plus, yes. And I see you added little sparklies to it.
I do. I'm one of the few that does mixed media. So I add in punch art, which these leaves are actually punch art. I add in beads, rhinestones.
You're very modern.
Like I said, I can't do the same thing twice. So
you get your inspiration a lot from natural nature.
Natural nature, and sometimes we're just sitting in a restaurant or something, and I'll see a design up there on the wall, and it's like, take a picture of that. I'm going to quill that.
I'm going to apply that to what I do.
Yes.
And that's what real artists do anyway, in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see the quilling industry going?
I hope bigger and better. Originally, the quilling was monochromatic, pretty much, and flat. As you can see, I don't do flat work.
No, in fact, I'd like to talk about this 3-dimensional gorgeous piece.
My angels.
This is an amazing, amazing, stunning piece of quilling.
This is, ta-da.
They're flying.
They're flying. It's all out of paper.
Unbelievable.
It's one of my first mobiles. I made a mistake in that I put rhinestones on there, not thinking. And so it went from the one category I wanted it in to the quilling and beyond. And so it only took third that year.
You didn't make a mistake in terms of creative production, because that's stunning.
Yeah. It was, and I've had it ever since. It's just.
Yeah, so I would never have thought that quilling could be such a gorgeous mobile like that. And I'm sure there's others as well.
I make butterfly, hummingbird, cat, angel, all kinds of mobiles.
Now let's talk about accreditation. What are accredited members?
Accredited members are people who want to test themselves to see if they can meet a certain set of criteria.
Okay. So for example?
You're given a shape chart, and you have to fill out the shape chart.
Oh, this is a shape chart. Okay.
This is a accreditation shape chart, and you do this up and send it in.
Okay.
They then decide how many of these you're going to use to make your design.
Wow.
So you have to use 10 of these, 4 of these.
It's like on those cooking shows where they give you liver and chocolate and say make something.
Yes.
Wow.
And you make a design of your choice. They send it in to be judged, And if it passes the criteria, which is consistent coils, no glue, overall size and shape and aesthetics, you're accredited.
Wonderful.
And once you're accredited, it's sort of like putting doctor at the end of your name for the quilling community.
We are here today with Rhonda Cole, an amazing quiller, and she has agreed to give us a demonstration on quilling. What are you going to give us a demonstration of?
I am going to show you how to make this.
That beautiful heart. Okay. And how many hours is that going to take? With the flower on top. I like that.
Yeah. It takes about 4 hours total, depending on how you do it.
Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go to demonstration. Hi, here we are once again. Here we are once again with Rhonda Cole, who's going to give us a quilling demonstration on a heart with flowers on it. Tell me more about what we're going to be doing.
Well, when I originally made it.
There, okay.
When I originally made this, I made it as a necklace, but you can do whatever you want with it. You can put it on a card or whatever. It's 2 layers, and it's actually very simple.
Okay.
So I have to have that, I'm sorry.
Oh, because you put pins in it. Ah.
So one of the easiest ways is to just take your paper and wrap it around something round. Just wrap it around 2 or 3 times until you get it where you want it to be.
Okay, and then what?
Then you take the circle and you pinch the bottom.
Ah, so that's the paper circle you've already finished. Okay.
And then you tilt it in.
What's that called? What's that called? Oh, you
Just shaping a heart.
shaping the heart. There we go. That's really nice. Okay, that was simple.
Then what we do
More tools. More tools.
More tools, more tools.
Those are
do
tweezers?
lots of tools.
The tweezers and then a pokey thing and pins. Okay.
So there's a number of different tools that you can use to
Shape it.
Shape it.
So I see you're taking the pins and you're shaping the heart, or you're supporting
Actually,
the heart.
I'm supporting the heart. I'm making it stay in a particular format.
So that's the outline,
This is the outline.
because you already did a red one, so now we're going to do a blue heart.
And so what you'll do is you'll take a strip, and I measured out my strips at, I believe these are 4 inches. So this is a needle tool. There's also a slotted tool and some other tools that you can use.
I see it.
The traditionals use the needle tool.
Perfect.
And you just roll it up
Oh, you're rolling it onto.
onto the needle tool. And you apply a certain amount of pressure. You don't have to be super hard. Yeah, it's hard to.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
So that was how long? That was
3 inch.
the 3-inch paper. Okay.
Okay. Then you have a number of different templates like this. This just happens to be mine.
Okay. And the templates are different sizes.
Different size holes.
Okay.
And you take this guy and you drop him down in here. And you let it unroll.
Ah, that's the trick. You let it unroll.
Let it unroll.
And then you take your tweezers.
Then I pick it up. Where do I need to go here?
Where?
There.
Yeah. Okay. And what's that?
This is a glue. Just, you can use any kind of glue. And you just put the smallest amount in there.
Tiniest. So
Yeah.
It has a very small nose, as it were.
It does.
And this is a fast drying glue.
That's Eileen's fast tacky glue, yes. And so you have a circle.
Beautiful circle. Okay.
So you can make a bunch of circles. Like this one is made with circles and S's. This one here is made with teardrops.
Which is a different type of design.
And this one is just made with a bunch of different shapes entirely.
So there's a lot of room for creativity in this.
Totally. So now that I've got this, I'm going to pinch one end of it and make it into a teardrop shape. Then you put this guy in here.
Pushing it up against the edge.
Yep.
And then you've got your tweezers and your glue again.
And again, just the tiniest amount of glue. And you stick it in there. Now, if you're having trouble, you can take and put another pen in there and hold it to be still or up against something if you need it. And so you just take all of these little guys and push them all in there.
Like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle. And that's exactly what it is. You pick out which pieces are going to work for what and where they're going to go. And you just fill in
the different areas.
The whole design. Okay?
But there's actually a structure and a flow to it as you're doing that.
Kind of, yeah. You kind of have to start in one area and just work out.
That makes sense.
So you just, like I said, take the paper.
So do you buy the paper pre-cut or do you cut it yourself?
I buy it pre-cut.
Sounds ours.
I am not brave enough to cut my own paper.
Well, because it's such a finely detailed thing.
So I'm going to move this off to the side.
Okay.
And
so that was phase one.
That's phase one. So now that I've got it done up, we're going to work on this one.
Okay.
The next thing you're going to do is make the flower.
Let me ask, how many are in there approximately? I see there's two different patterns.
Actually, it's one pattern, but when you pinch it one way, if I pinch it,
it goes in one direction.
And if you turn it over, it goes in the other direction.
That's what makes it, so fascinating.
Yeah. So that's all that is.
Oops. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
I do this all the time. I throw them on the floor. I don't know why. So then what you're going to do is take whatever color you want next.
Okay.
And again, I've clipped all of these down. And I put them on. I put them on the back side of this one, so we'll just fake it here.
Okay.
And the center of this,
of the flower,
I'm making with a different color.
So it stands out more.
So it stands out. And this is what's called a tight circle. I beg your pardon. That's how I work, is over my lap.
Okay.
So you just roll a super tight circle. And we'll get rid of that little edge there. Put a drop of glue on there. And roll that on through.
And it dries so quickly.
It does. And I always do this just to flatten it out so that it is nice and flat.
Now, is this something you can do while watching television? No, I think it's awfully detailed
Actually,
for that.
no, you can. I do it watching TV. I've done it in the car on some of our long trips. I've done it. I did it on the streets of Arizona. So
okay. So you have street walkers and you have street quillers.
So you just take and put a little dab of glue and you glue them right there to the tight circle.
And poof, you're soon to have that flower
and then
right there.
you have this flower.
That's lovely.
Then you need to make up some leaves. The leaves are basically the same thing, but you're going to do a couple of different things with it. So if you notice, this has
green,
just a spiral here and a spiral here, but it's got a what we call a marquee here, here, and here. So, and you'll notice that these are all, this is what's called concentric, where all of the paper is pulled back to one edge, and it gives it kind of a
more texture and interest.
Yeah, where this one, as you said, is off of both sides. So, again, creativity. It's up to you.
Everyone's different.
Totally. So, we roll up. I beg your pardon, I'm doing that again. So you roll it up again. You can drop it into
it's that circle tool.
the circle tool, or just drop it here, let it unwind, and then pick it up.
Find your size.
Put your glue on it. See, now with leaves, it doesn't matter what size they are, because they aren't next to anything that's the same. When you're doing something like this, you want them all to be the same.
Same, right.
Okay, and then this one, you pinch one end and then you pinch the other end. And then you throw it on the floor.
Okay.
That's all right, I got another one right here. I come prepared.
I'm keeping all those.
And so you end up with a little marquee.
So it's not really a teardrop because it's pointing at both ends.
Right. So now that we've got that, we take our flower and we figure out what the orientation is that we want on it. And we figure out where we want our first guy here to go. And then you can kind of push that right in there. And we're going to add in a bud up here.
That's nice.
And if I wanted to, I could add in a few more buds. Or I can just put in a leaf here. And how about a curly Q over here? And another leaf, maybe back up here.
Really pretty. Here, let's
Glue
turn
it all
so the
down.
camera can see it.
Yeah, it's not glued down. Then you glue it all down. And
look how adorable that is.
you're done.
So thanks for being here with us. Thank you, Rhonda. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to have you. Thank you for telling
it's
us
been lovely.
this incredible ancient art of quilling.
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it.